In this video, I'm going to talk about part one of the Health Communication Campaign project. But before I get into part one, I do want to make a couple notes and talk about the overall project. Ultimately, this is one large project that's broken down into a couple different parts. The reason I did that is because it would be quite a lot to ask of you to do just one large major assignment due at the end of the term. I think breaking this down into smaller parts that build on the prior parts of it helps you to work a little more effectively. It also gives you points of getting feedback from your instructor early on. So if there's something you didn't quite get right early on, you can kind of make corrections to that as you move to the next part of the assignment, which I think helps to make overall a better project, particularly when you get to the end. So let me talk first about what the Health Communication Campaign project is, what that ends up being, and then I'll talk more specifically about part one. Overall, what you're doing is you're going to pick a health issue, you're going to identify a target population, and when we get towards the end of this project, develop some actual health messages that you could hypothetically use in a campaign to educate the target population about that health issue. This is really what health communication is, and you're going to create some messages that might help people to learn more about their health and make some healthy decisions. To do that, like I've said, I've broken this down into smaller parts. So let me talk about part one in particular. What you're basically going to do in part one is identify a health issue that you think is important, and you're going to talk about what that health issue is by explaining it, providing some background so that somebody who isn't in the medical field, a layperson audience, could understand why that health issue is important. Next, what you're going to do is identify a target population. So these are the people who might be particularly affected by this health issue, or who might be susceptible to it, or people who should be aware of that health issue. But you need to identify a target population and explain who would fall in that target population and why you selected it. That's the two big parts that you're doing with this part of the overall project. I have some details about the format that this paper should take on the assignments page for this particular assignment for part one. What I've done is create an assignment group so that the four parts of this assignment are all collected together, but we're just going to work on part one for the time being, so make sure you focus your attention there. On the assignments page, for part one, make sure you read through the format and the details that I've got on the assignment page for part one of the Health Communication Campaign project. And as always, you can contact your instructor in case you have more questions about this particular part of the assignment.